Everyone. So it's been a few, like, I don't even know how long it's been, 2 months into the new mod, and it's been a bit since my last videos when I started the single target videos and stuff like this. So I just want to go give an update on the different, this will be a pretty in-depth video about the different trials and dungeons that I kind of switch things up. It does change a little bit, but I just want to give you a heads up on what I'm currently running and stuff like this. Okay, so let's start off with the first one. So right now I'm in a single target AoE build. What does that mean? Well, it means if there's excuse me, if there's ads inside the fight, say as in like the first boss in MTOS or Tiamat and stuff like that, I'll run this build. So this is the general build. The only thing I do differently for when I run Tiamat, or sorry, MTOS, I just switch the boots, right, to these ones here from the campaign. That's the only real difference. So it's kind of nice. I set it up so if I want to run general stuff, I can just put on these ones. If I want to run MTOS, right, I'll just switch out the boots. Obviously, you don't have to run Rimefire and leggings. If you need the combat advantage, right, you can run, obviously, Wasteland Wanderers. You can run the Forest Guardian Raid Shoes, right? You can run the new Seal ones if you need the crit severity. It all depends what type of build that you are, right? So I'll just go over some different variations of our run because I do see a lot of questions like, well, what do you run here? What do you run there? There's no one true best in slot build for all content, right? There's a general one you can do, but you just modify it as you go, okay? So helm, right? Obviously the crit strike helm. I run the combat advantage accuracy. You can do this with the crit strike crit severity as well. Okay, it's perfectly fine. It's up to you how you're doing it. So this one, I run the crit severity arms. You can run different ones like the mighty vambraces, right? If you're not in a raptor groups, which I don't really run. Most of my groups are raptor. Oh, they are all raptor, so I don't really run these anymore. But there are some variations you can do as well. Okay, so I run Mastercraft, Ray of Frost. This one switches. If you want, I just like Ray of Frost in a lot of situations, but for AoE stuff, I'll run Chilling Cloud that as well. But both of them are good. Recharge speed and accuracy. Obviously, this will change, right, depending on what you want. You can do AP gain if you wanted to as well, but I like recharge speed throughout my build. Okay. This obviously will change based on what artifact you're running. I'm running the dragon set. You can run Mythalar, right? It's perfectly awesome option as well. I just like the dragon set. Opens up the build a bit, but you can run Mythalar. I have a few builds set up as Mythalar as well, so it's all good, right? I run the new crit strike ring and the old dragon crit strike as well. Other options you can run, right, are obviously Band of Air is still a good option. They did buff it, so it's all good. The Vistani ring is very good as well for help buff in the group. You can run. Sorry, where is it? I finally got this. The combat advantage ring. You can run this as well, right? There's different variations. If you don't have any of these, right, Red Eyes Glare is obviously good, like the Voss rings and stuff like that, right? So some good options as well. And then I run the combination, right? The combo for the set bonus. I like the set bonus. It gives me power, crit severity, right? And obviously a little bit of awareness. Also, I think the 1 second off, right? Cooldown every 5 seconds is really strong, right? And it's up a lot, right? So you'll see it, right? Proc in your encounters will just drop a second, so it's really strong. Other options you can run, right, are this one here, 5% combat advantage, right? Very good choice as well. I run Int Charisma. Other good options if you need the dexterity for, say, crit severity and you like movement speed, right? Int and dexterity are other good options as well. Okay, and then here's a setup here. I just crit Devil's Precision, right? Rage of Flames. I'll run Poison Thorn if I'm running Ray of Frost. I find it, obviously, it allows it to crit. But if I'm running Chilling Cloud, I'll run Curse Burn. Which I just put on that as well. I'll just kind of set this up. There we go. And then I run recharge speed. You go on AP gain, right? Movement speed, it all depends what you want. And this, like, the offense and defense, right, are going to switch depending on what you have, right? So this is going to switch depending on which where your stats are at. As you can see here, everything's going to be pretty much max when I buff up. So that's why there's no point at end game, right, to run an augment, because everything's maxed out anyways for rating wise, right? And it's good to go with that. So this is going to change based on your build. Okay, so powers. So for AoE, right, it's nice. Chilling Cloud is very nice because the third proc allows it to obviously hit other mobs. It procs Vistani, right, the ring and the Vistani set, right, so they help out as well. And I run Magic Missile, right, to help keep my arcane stacks up, that extra 2.5% damage. So I just kind of fire it off every once in a while, right? You can see in the top left bar of your, the buff. If you're not at 5, right, you can just fire this off and then get going. If you run Ray of Frost, right, I usually like this and just pure single target. That's what I run. So this is Entangling Force, Repel, Icy Rays, and Fireball in R1. This is probably the most optimal setup. Fireball in R1 is nice because it procs Vistani if you are running Vistani ring and set, right? Especially in like Cocoon, right, or Barrel, right? It helps debuff that as well. If you're running other things, you can run obviously Ray of Enfeeblement. I usually run Ray of Enfeeblement in most groups. The damage loss honestly isn't that much to pin the Fireball, as well as obviously this helps out the group a lot, especially everyone's running wizards anyway, so so it definitely helps out as well. So I'll usually run Ray of Enfeeblement in most groups. The damage drop off between Fireball and this isn't that much, and you feel good about yourself, right, for buffing the group. Ice Knife, right, this one's always on. So I'm running I'm running Critical Burn, so my chill stacks don't give me anything. So I run Swath of Destruction, right? It helps with smolder damage as well as the 3%, right? Damage right there, perfectly right off the bat. So that's your 3% damage and then the groups. You can run Orb of Imposition. This is pretty much most of your skills, right? That's a control, that's a control. This is a control. This one isn't. This is a control, right? Added effect knockdown. So they're all help out as well. If you are running the different build, right, Frigid Winds, you can run obviously Chilling Presence as well, right? So this is kind of my AoE setup. It's very strong, right? And I think it's a little bit more beginner friendly just because you get 20% crit severity, right? Between these two, so that's extra stats, percent stats, right? That you don't need to look for, right? I'll go over another build quickly after this that I can run to show you as well. And then Directed Flame. Directed Flame is superior than Rimefire. I feel like in AoE, just because things die too quick for the smolder, right, to proc after everything, right, the 4 times after, where Directed Flame is going to proc immediately and then every second, right? So usually by the time this procs 4 times, right, in 4 seconds, the mobs are dead anyways, right? So Rimefire definitely is, I think, is a little bit less. Obviously it's still fine. Like, it's still a good choice, especially if you don't have a lot of loadouts like I do, and this is better for single target as well, I feel like, as well, especially with this combination, Frigid Winds and Rimefire Weaving. But I know some really strong wizards who prefer Directed Flame and single target. Like I said, try it out for yourself and see what you like best. Okay, and then this is the setup here. I won't go over it just because I've gone over it before, but I'll just go over my thoughts on it as well. Okay, Boon's obviously the same. I'm going to probably change these up for more health, just because maybe I'll survive a couple more big hits if I like a sliver, right, and stuff like that. And then Guild, I run Power. This is going to change, right, based on your setup. Awareness or defense, right, whatever you prefer. And then Utility, I run Revive Sickness, right? You may not have this, so just run Movement Speed as well. Companion, there's lots of different choices. Githyanki is pretty strong, but it pushes mobs away. It maybe get a little frustrating, but it's still very strong single target and AoE. Regis, obviously, for AoE, but not good single target. Pseudo Dragon, obviously good for single target, and then the Shadowkai Witch is another awesome option as well. That's obviously it depends on what you have, but those are all good choices of how it goes from there. I went all accuracy. I still need one more. Next week I can do this, get the last one. This is going to change based on your what ratings you actually need. And then perfect vision, I want accuracy. This can change obviously to acute senses, right? Precision, potent precision, right? It all depends on what you need. During MTOS, I do tend to run vulnerability to help out the group as well, just because we're missing 2 support, right? There's only 2 support. Usually they run armor break and dulled senses. But if they're whatever they're missing, I'll tend to run the other one, the third one, so it helps out. And honestly, it's not that much loss and damage for you, and then the group is benefiting as well. So maybe ask the group to see which one they're missing in 5-man content, but obviously in 10-man content, all the good ones are covered, so you can go for your damage ones as well. So this is what I've been running. So the 2 key ones are these 2. Batiri, right, and Minsk. This is going to change. I just, for Christmas, I was like, you know what, I'm going to spend the 7 million AD on this, but it's just so I can, like, it looks cool to have the accuracy at like 85% in combat, right, and then you're good to go. Other good choices, the 7.5% crit chance. But I do find that the 3 damage comps probably outweighs it just by a little bit, right? Maybe like a couple percent, right? Having 3 damage comps, so you can do this as well. But those are good choices, right? This it's just going to change on what you actually need. Raptor, and then this is utility is Alchemist. This could change, right, to Golden Cat for just the accuracy or the combat advantage. So obviously these 2 for sure, and then Raptor, all my groups run it. So the only 2 ones you can actually have choice on are this one and this one as well. Okay, so these 2. So you can run 3rd damage comp or crit strike only. You can run crit strike, crit severity if you need it, right? You can put the combat advantage one there, right? There's also different choices and go from there. And then Assassin, Gladiators, Artificial Persuasion. I really enjoy this one. Assassin's Covenant, another one, and then Combat Maneuver, right? You get 2.5% combat advantage. If I wasn't running this, I would run Warlords. Okay, I'm just stretched a little thin with stats, but Warlords obviously is good as well. So this covers. This is my AOE, right? Single target AOE mix. It's like a hybrid build, and go from there. The MTOS one is literally the same thing, right? The only thing different is I have the boots on, and then everything's the same. Okay. This is the Frigid Wind version. So the only thing I would change, right, if I learn MTOS would be the boots to these ones, but everything else stays the same. Obviously, everything's literally the same thing, right? For Ray of Frost, I would change it. Sorry, I was testing things out earlier. So Chilling Cloud for AoE is so, and then I would put Curse Burn. But obviously, if you don't have both of them, either one's fine. It's good, both good choices. Okay. And everything else is the same, and then you can just vary what you have, right? If you don't want the crit strike, you put the combat advantage. You can change the shirt, right, and stuff like this. But I'll just go over. I'll quickly, stat wise, same thing, right? I need the dexterity because I'm in Frigid Winds. I lose 10% dexterity or crit strike or crit severity, sorry. So I just kind of adjust it as well. Okay, so obviously you run charisma if you need it as well. Enhancements. This is going to change. Sorry for the baby crying. That's just a newborn baby. She's hungry. And then I'm going to go over. So this is what changes, right? So this is all the same. This is the same. This is the same. So this is what changes, right? This goes to chilling. Chilling presence, and then you're good to go with that. And then you can't run swath, right? It's perfectly fine. And going from there. So the only thing changes of this one is this one here. So critical burn and Frigid Winds. So Frigid Winds, right, you're going to gain more chill stacks. Your chill stacks matter, and they give actually damage output. and then that's why you would choose Chilling Presence as well, right? So same thing, this can change to Swath of Destruction or Orbit Imposition, but this at least Chilling Presence affects your Smolder, right? And affects like your chill strikes, shadow strikes, right, and stuff like this. So I think that this is probably best for that as well. And everything else is the same. They may change a little bit, but everything is pretty much the same thing. AoE, right, you can change to the Githyanki, Shadowkai Witch, right, lots of good choices, Mystagogue, but at least like you want like a hybrid, right, that does good single target, or AoE, but if you're going to choose one, I would just choose Pseudo Dragon for a single target right on the boss that has more life and stuff like that. And everything else is the same thing. So that's the same AoE hybrid build for single target and AoE with Frigid Winds. So the ones I've been trying out for pure single target, right? So this is Frigid Winds. So there's a couple of things I adjust on this one are I put on, so this one I prefer more in Tom and like burst combinations. I will probably I'll change to Dragon Set for a more longer fight, right? So like you can get your stacks up and then they'll stay up, right? Where Tom, he phases a lot, right? And you have to get your stacks up and you may not be able to get things off in time and stuff like that, right? So it's not like you're losing a ton of damage, maybe like 2% if you use the dragons, if you want to just use the Dragon Set everywhere. It's based on your play style, right? And then how much risk you want to take and get your counters off and then get them back up again. So I use the crit strike, crit severity one. It just helps make up the stats, right? So I lose accuracy, but it's all good, right? And stuff like this. So this one, I have Black Dragon Set, right? But obviously this can change if you want the 1200 artifacts, which is do more damage anyways in the long run. But if you prefer recharge speed, right, it's good to go. Obviously these are going to change based on what the group tells you to run. I'm running the combat ring, combat advantage ring in this setup. Everything else, obviously things kind of change, right? It went to 82 just because of I got this one on, right, and stuff like this and that. So you can just change it up to see what's best, right? So same thing, dexterity int because I need the crit severity because of Frigid Winds, and everything else is kind of the same thing, right? And it goes from there. Everything, this is pretty much all the same. Powers, right? I ran Ray of Frost. I just like it, the smoothness of it. AP gain is faster, right? And stuff like this. It's just stronger to me. The only thing that's really going to change, right, is Ray Enfeeblement to Fireball. Right, that's the only two you would actually change. These three will stay the same: Icy Rays, Repel, and Entangling Force. Why not Chill Strike? Because of the extra, it's a little bit more damage than Entangling Force. Well, each stack of Arcane Mastery, right, increases duration of Entangling Force by 0.1 seconds. So it's when you have more stacks, it's actually going to proc one more time, right? So it will hit one more time, and it also will hit. So do more damage than Chill Strike, and we've been testing this, and that's why it's better in the long run in a fight. So this stays the same. Chilling Presence, right? The only thing is. This one here, right? I just haven't done it yet. I'd switch Glowing Flames to Icy Veins. I just copied this loadout from something else, just because you can get your stacks faster. Honestly, this one doesn't even matter. But it may be Tom and stuff like this, right? You can get your chill stacks, but there's usually other wizards in the group, and then the chill stacks already are always up anyways, right? So it doesn't really matter too much. Obviously Shadow Strike, Frigid Winds. So this combination right here helps with the Shadow Strike a lot, right? It's going to do more damage, a lot more damage with this setup, right? And going from there. So that's that. Everything else is the same. I run 3 damage comps in this one, so I'm going all damage, right? And so like this, but this is what I'm running. Equipment, right? This kind of changes a little bit. Right? Don't worry too much about I'm like. Maybe you need precision, right, or potent precision and stuff like this, right? You can run potent precision and then the combat advantage, accuracy chest piece. There's lots of different ones, right? I just it's just easier sometimes to do it a little bit differently, but there's a variety of ways in how to get this done. But same thing, these two are the same, right? Raptor stays the same, and then this one and this one change, right? Depending on what you actually need. I think 3 damage comps in the long run is probably a little bit more damage, like overall damage, maybe like a couple %, compared to like 7.5% crit chance, right? Or you can do the accuracy one as well. It's a great choice, or whatever, right? It's not too big of a deal, but just try it out and see how it goes. And then I have wings on for, I was already in second boss, MTOS, helping out a group, and then with just the same thing. Everything else stays the same, right? The only thing that changed in this one is I have Warlord's Inspiration instead of Combat Maneuver. So those are the 2 ones you can do as well, right? And stuff like that. These are all, so my two mythic colors, are just Encounter Power and then Crit Severity. Alright, so that's Frigid wins, single target. See champ, this is probably the best build for a single target, honestly. Overall, you can get away with the other ones, but I think for ease of use and stuff like this one would probably net you the most damage, especially if your skill isn't quite there yet in the build, and stuff like that. Like I said, I do a lot of testing, so I prefer some other things as well. So if you're going to run anyone, run this one for pure single target, okay? Obviously this can change, right? You can run this, the Van Braces as well, depending on things are going. I got to do some adjustments with the red right there, but don't worry about that, and going from there. So the 2 ones I've been trying out a lot are the recharge speed. This is pure single target, right? So I run the pure single target helm. If you don't have the option, right, obviously just this one's perfectly fine as well. I just like this, especially in Tom, right? So you have instant crit strike immediately, and you're not building the stacks up. But honestly, these are minimal things. But I just like this one as well. So I run the recharge ring and I run Black Dragon set. All right. So recharge speed. This is all recharge speed. This one can obviously change to this one here, also the recharge speed as well, right? But it's hard to get the crit severity as well. So stat-wise, right, and this one changes, right, from into charisma, because I want the recharge speed. And then, let me go scroll down here. Right, my base recharge speed's at 27, right, so let's be at 37.5 with the when the ring procs, right? And then if you use the arms, right, you're at like 45ish. And then if you get the Forge's box proc, right, what is it? I think it's like 10% you get, or 5%. So you're at like 52 or 57ish as well, right? So it's great. This one stays the same, right? Ray of Frost. So recharge speed is pretty insane. How much? Like so at 8.6 seconds. Let's see if I can get it. What did I get? No, I didn't get it. So when you look at it, right, so 14.1 seconds, right? So once you get into combat, the ring will proc. This will be roughly like 13.2 seconds. And if you have the arms on, right, then you're looking at like 12.5 seconds. And then if you get the recharge speed from the Forge's box, right, you're under 12 seconds kind of thing. Especially, and then you Artificer's Persuasion, then you can actually do 2 calls, right? Pretty much, you can always attack and get things figured out during artifact call and stuff like this. Right, same thing. Fireball would only change for Raven Fuelment. This stays all the same. So these ones are all down. Right, I want my chill stacks right away to get the damage down as fast as possible. Enhancements, these are all the same. I run Poison Thorn with Ray of Frost, right? Recharge speed as well. Like obviously I'm doing the recharge speed and then the AP gain. Right, you may use the Forte as well, right? These are things. These are various things as well. Companions, these 2 stay the same, right? Raptor stays the same, and then these 2 switch. And you can change some things up in this one. I can I can run the 3 damage comps just fine if I wanted to. It's just a matter of what you prefer and stuff like this. And I'm just testing this as one as well over the 3 damage comps just to compare as well, right? That's I really like to test, and then these stay the same. Right, so it's the same type of thing, right? So like with the recharge speed build, you're losing some damage, but you can cast things a lot faster, right? So like in Tom, like I will literally unleash everything before we call artifacts. Call my artifact, I'll lose 2 seconds off my cooldowns, right, from Artificer's Persuasion, and then with the shirt, when this procs 2, right? The 1 second off each thing, right? So you're going to lose another second. So you can pretty much, you will have all your encounters up during the artifact call, right? And then you go from there. So there's different ways of doing it. That's how I like to do it. Obviously get your stacks up from your chest piece before, and then during the artifact call, everything's maxed out, and then you go from there. Another way of doing it, right, is call your artifact and then throw everything, and then you will have Entangling Force. You'll definitely have Repel and Fireball up again during the artifact call. So you have like 2 times, right? You can get them in. So play around with that and see what you kind of like, see how it feels. So this is the recharged one, Frigid Winds. I went over that one. This is the recharged one with Critical Burn, right? So things, you can change things up, right? I wanted to try out the recharge speed bracers. That's why I had the boots on. If I wasn't running this setup, right, I would just run the this one right here, or the vamp bracers, and then I would run Rust of Iron leggings instead, right, and stuff like this, right? Because you're using recharge speed here, you're running the recharge speed ring, right? You're giving up things, and then you have to make it up, right? So obviously this works from what I have, but you may have to adjust some things, right, to actually get it going from there. So this one, I think my base recharge speed is 27.5 as well, right? So this one I chose Relative Haste over Smoldering just because of the extra 5% in single target. It's not a lot, but it adds up, right? I was just going from there. Like I said, I'm using Critical Burn, so my chill stacks don't do anything, so this one doesn't matter as well. And then this one, you can run Over Imposition or Swath of Destruction, right? It all depends what you want to try things out. And then, like I said, some wizards run Directed Flames, pure single target. Some run Rimefire. I prefer Rimefire. I feel like it does more damage based on what I'm seeing. But honestly, it's nothing crazy. And if you only have like one loadout, and you run AoE stuff as well, Directed Flame would better for the AoE part of the fight. And everything else stays the same here. Okay. Companion, same thing. This is all that. You can run the 3rd damage comp very easily if you want to. I'm just testing some things out with that as well. Right, so just going from there. So I can usually run Neverwinter's Night instead, or the accuracy one, right? And going from there. And mount, same thing. Everything's pretty much the same, right? Warlords or combat maneuver. It's up to you, right? It doesn't really matter too much. And going from there. So the only reason why I'm running these boots right now is just because I got these braces on just to try out. I don't know. I heard they were bugged after the first proc. It doesn't work anymore, but I got to try them out and see, and going from there. But if I wasn't running these, I would run this one, and then I would run that, right? And then I would just swap one thing out right there to get the extra crit severity, and then going from there. I think that's all my builds, right? Yeah, so everything else is just the variations, right? So like I've seen people question like what's the best over like single like best build? Well, there isn't. There's variations of it based on what you're playing and stuff like this. I like to test things a lot. Some people don't, and they just run one thing and then it's really strong, right? So I know like the best wizards I know, or best players I know, they have strong build, right? And it's just I compare what I'm doing, right, based off of where my damage is compared to them, and stuff like that, right? So I hope this helps out. I think that covers everything I wanted to cover. There is some staples, right, that are in the build, and things that you can change. And then based on what you have, right? Like obviously the recharge speed stuff is fine if you have the ring and some other stuff. But honestly, if you're gonna choose one, I would choose this build right here, right? Frigid wins. If you're able to do, and then 3 damage comps, right? And then Mythalar set. This is probably the most easy one to do more damage. If you need the crit severity, right? The other one, right, is this one here, right? So you have with critical burn the extra 10%, and then as you can see here, right, everything's going to be pretty much maxed out when I buff up and I'm in group, and then my accuracy in this one. What's my accuracy? So I run watermelon sorbet now just because they're cheaper, and I could just sort of the increased accuracy as well. But obviously squash soup, it would adjust things, right? Like you wouldn't need this. You have to have an 80% and stuff like that, right? So my accuracy with like Mystic Aura, my Sunlords, right, is like 64-ish plus the chest piece, and then this proc here, right? So that's the 80%. And if I really wanted to, I could run so around 80% accuracy. I'm testing this out to see if it's better, right? Obviously, this could change to Neverwinter's Night, right? Or the crit strike. It all depends what you need, right? And stuff like this. So the buffs I run, I just changed this a little bit ago. Obviously, Flask of Potency for the crit severity, and then the 550, right, or the other ones. I'm running Watermelon Sorbet. It's just, I just prefer, it just helps out with the different types of things I want to run. Just because, especially if you don't have a lot of AD, Squash Soup is getting very expensive already, right? And it's only like halfway through the year before the next winter or summer festival. So you don't have a lot of squash soup. You can make this work with watermelon sorbet just fine. And that's what I kind of wanted to prove as well, if I can just run this with that. Invocation Blessing, I run Sear Tuna. This can change as well, based if you need accuracy or combat advantage or whatever else you need, right, from the new Stronghold foods. And then Sunlords, right? This can obviously change, right, to Wildstorm Elixir if you need those as well, right? It all depends. Like, see what you're missing in your build, right? And then you go from there, and then see what you're actually going from. And then, obviously, I would use like Dragon Potion and Tiamat and stuff like that. Whew. So this was a longer video. I just wanted to cover everything I wanted to cover, the different build variations, right, that I use, and I really hope this helps out. If you have any questions, just let me know. And then if you want me to make a video explaining certain things differently, or different feats or whatever, I'm very happy to do that as well. So enjoy, everyone.